Let's take a look at measuring objects using inches and also find the perimeter of things. So inches are a common size used for measuring the length of objects that you can hold in your hand. So smaller objects, like a piece of paper or a book or a pencil or the glass that you drink out of. Now, when we're thinking about inches, inches are about 2.5 centimeters. So if you know that a centimeter is as small as your pinky is wide, or a pencil width, an inch is about 2.5 of those. So here's another thing that you can use. On your hand from the tip of your finger to the first joint is about an inch. Or from the tip of your thumb to that first joint, that's about an inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to estimate the perimeter of some objects, but this time we're going to do it in inches. Let's start with that piece of paper that we did before in centimeters. So here's that piece of paper again, and there's my trusty estimator, my thumb with my inch marked off. So there's 1 inch, that would be about 2, about 3, about 4, about 5, about 6, about 7, about 8, about 9, maybe a little bit more than 10. So I'm going to mark that as about 10 inches. Now I need to estimate going across. So there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6.5, I'd say. So I'm going to call it 6 inches. Then I know this side has to be 10 and this side has to be 6. So 10 plus 10 is 20. 6 plus 6 is 12. And if I add those two, 32 inches. 32 inches is my perimeter. Now we're going to go ahead and do some measuring with our ruler. This time, I'm going to make sure I flipped my ruler over. I'm looking at inches now. You can see the inches there. These are the centimeters down here, but we're not going to use those. And just like before, I want to make sure I line up my 0 at the end of the line. So that red line that we found earlier, I don't remember exactly how long it was. Line it up right at the edge. And it's a little bit trickier because inches are so much wider than centimeters that I'm noticing, oh, look at that. It's about 4.5 inches. Now let's check out that yellow line. Again, I want to line that right up at the 0. That looks pretty good. And the yellow line is about 2.5 inches. And now let's look at this black line, which is a little bit shorter than the other one. So this is our halfway mark right here. So that makes this a quarter. So 2.25 inches. Now we're only going to be dealing in whole inches, so you don't have to worry about that. Now let's use our ruler to actually measure the perimeter around this piece of paper. So again, I'm going to line this up right here at the edge. Now I have 5 inches showing here. So right about there is about 5 inches. So let me just see how much farther it is. It's about another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to call that 5 inches. It's a little bit less than a half. Now I want to measure the bottom part. So I'd line the 0 up right on the edge of the piece of paper. And I can see that it's a little bit under 4.5 inches. So I'm going to call it 4 inches. That means the top of it's 4 inches and this side is 5 inches. So now I do 5 plus 5, which is 10. 4 plus 4, which is 8. And then 10 plus 8, which is 18 inches. So my estimate is a bit off again, 18 inches. So perhaps you're going to do a better job when you're doing it with real objects and not on the computer. So again, we're not going to do the chalkboard or the whiteboard. We'll do maybe a table. Don't forget to estimate first and then measure. And remember, we're focusing on perimeter, which is the distance all the way around.